All right, Representative Demetriou, thank you for being with us.
Hey, John, thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. So to kick things off, why don't you let us know what district you're running for? Generally introduce yourself, share your background, and talk to us about how that positions you for office.
Sure. So I'm running, my name's Steve Demetriou. I'm running for re-election in Ohio House District 35, which encompasses parts of Geauga, Portage, and Summit counties. Um, a little bit about me. I grew up in Northeast Ohio. After high school, I attended the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. And after graduating from West Point, I served for a few years as an infantry officer in the Army. And, I always tell people that's the best job I've ever had. It's where I learned how to be a leader and work with people that see the world a lot differently than I do, or than I did certainly back then. And I think that's helped, me immensely during my first term as a state representative these past 20 months. After deploying to Afghanistan and returning home shortly thereafter, I transitioned out of the military and started my first business. And still am proud to say I'm a small business owner, which hopefully is exciting to all of your listeners here. And most importantly, though, I'm a father of three. My wife Carly and I are blessed with three little boys, all under the age of 4. So it's a busy time with the election and handling my official duties down in Columbus, as well as running my business here in Northeast Ohio. But it's all good stuff. So that's just a little bit about me, and I think I like to say I'm a public servant. That's why I wanted to get back, after leaving the military into public service. That's why I ran in 22. And, I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot of the issues that I care about that I think, the chamber cares about as well, that I'm, fighting for down in Columbus. And I want to get back down there after this election and keep up the fight. So.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Before we jump into some more policy-oriented questions and learning more about where you're going to be focused, just take a second and talk to us about the political side of this. How's your campaign been going? Are any tangible differences between running this time versus the first time you campaigned?
Yeah, so this is my second political election. I ran for the first time for any office in 22 for the office I'm now holding as a state representative. And I think it's going great. Hopefully the voters agree. And we've worked really hard to get out across the district. For me, it's this cycle has presented a bit of a unique challenge because we've gone through some pretty heavy redistricting, certainly as far as my district's concerned. And I think about roughly 80% of the geography is new to me. And so it's been fun, though, getting out to the new parts of the district, meeting with local leaders, business owners, voters, obviously, and, hear what their concerns are. And the good news is I think a lot of the things I've been working on already are, hitting those key issues and priorities for voters across the new district as well. So I think so far so good. And, we're just finishing out these last 3 or 4 weeks through November 5th. And so, yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned issues. As a regional business community, of course, we're naturally interested in hearing what you believe the top issues are facing our economy and broader business community at large. With that said, from your perspective, what are those top issues, good or bad, and how do you plan on engaging them?
Sure. I think the issue that I've continuously heard about, the top, kind of the top issue from just about everyone, is just the rising cost of living, rising inflation. And that's obviously important to me as a voter and a citizen of Ohio myself. But that's something I think certainly down the state house we can impact the most profoundly through tax policy. And it's been great these first 20 months down in the state house to have the ability to serve on the Ways and Means Committee, where we see a lot of that tax policy conversations take place. And I'm also proud to say, one of the first bills I got passed into law, House Bill 57, which got passed through the state operating budget in 2023. That bill ties the homestead exemption to inflation. So we're giving some relief to seniors and totally disabled veterans on their property taxes. And I think it's just really important we continue the fight to help reduce that tax burden across the board, whether it's property taxes, income tax. I know a lot of the businesses you work with, John, are facing the corporate activities tax. municipal income tax, depending on where you live. So those are things that, I'm proud to say have already impacted, but positively. But we have a lot of work to do to keep giving to make sure we give our voters and our constituents relief across the state. So that's definitely the number one issue that I'm hearing about, and that is important to me. I think secondly, just with my background, going into the election in 22 and my service down the state house, being a voice for small business owners is really important to me, because that's a community that I come from as well. And one of the reasons I ran. And we've started to do some good work there as far as really trying to work with the Ohio Chamber. Proud to earn their endorsement this cycle as well. But Representative Nick Santucci, who's from Trumbull County, and myself introduced a bill called House Bill 35, the MTAP bill, which would create a grant program for small manufacturing businesses, obviously many of which are prolific across Northeast Ohio, certainly the Akron-Kent region. So this would give some resources to small businesses to help upskill employees, modernize equipment, just be more competitive in the workplace and the economy here, because that's important to me. I want to make sure that we organically grow businesses that are already here in Ohio, and we make Ohio and Northeast Ohio certainly a better place for new businesses to come and open up shop and create more jobs. So I'd say from an economic perspective, those are the kind of top issues I'm hearing about and that I'm trying to focus on now and in the future in the State House.
Great, thanks for that. So you kind of tipped your hat at what your priorities have been and what they will be if reelected. As far as committees, you mentioned Ways and Means. Are there other areas or other committees in which you intend to spend your time and attention on if reelected?
Sure. I mean, we'll see what leadership has, in place for me. I'm one of 99 members, and so it's certainly a team environment as far as which committees you get on. But I definitely would like to continue my service on Ways and Means, and I think going in, to the next General Assembly, I'll just have a lot better understanding of how things work down there. Right? It's the government. It's a big machine. So these first 2 years, I think I did a pretty good job of learning quickly on the fly on how things work. But for example, John, I think going into the next odd year, so right after January, when we get sworn in, we'll go right into the operating budget, as formulating the operating budget. And I think I'm just going to have a lot better understanding of how that process works and be able to provide resources back to the Northeast Ohio, my district, in a much more effective way, just because I understand sort of the ins and outs of that process. So that's something I'm really excited to kind of to get back into and have a better understanding of, so I can be a more effective leader. I think, a third area I'd like to continue to explore is just technology. I serve on the Technology and Innovation Committee now, but I've worked on some sort of AI related bills. I'm a big fan of blockchain technology. I think that's a really exciting opportunity for our economy nationally, internationally, but certainly here in Ohio. And I'd like, I want to spend more time understanding how AI is going to, artificial intelligence is going to impact our economy, good and bad. So that's that's kind of a third thing I'd say I'd like to make a pet project and really sink my teeth into.
Fantastic. So maybe from just a 30,000 foot view, a little higher level, you talked about being a voice for small business, improving the business climate through things like improving, the tax environment in which they operate. Talk about some of your committee work from a high level. We're also an economic development organization. We're deeply ingrained in a lot of projects and ongoing initiatives. We often look to government to be a partner in that work. What do you view the government's role is or should be in regional economic development activities?
Sure. I think first and foremost is to stay out of the way as much as possible, and let certainly local organizations like local chambers, the organizations that so well, John, help their clients and their members to the best of their ability, and give the resources at the local level, at the regional level, to be put to use in the most effective manner. But I think generally speaking, it's to stay out of the way, whether that's on the tax side, eliminating taxes or reducing taxes. So those profit margins can increase for businesses. They can hire more Ohioans to grow their businesses, and everyone sort of prospers. And I think secondly, the thing I've seen where our state's, I think, doing a pretty darn good job, especially regionally here in Northeast Ohio, is just through economic development, but specifically through real estate kind of activity. The Department of Development down in Columbus, I think, does a great job of getting resources out to make sure we have facilities for incoming companies that may be interested in Ohio to take hold of and open up shop here in Ohio, making sure we do all that site prep work ahead of time to make Northeast Ohio generally attractive for larger businesses. We've seen, and certainly in Central Ohio, a lot of some of the exciting opportunities. We'll see how they play out with like Intel and Honda. Want to see a little more of that action happening up in our neck of the woods up in Northeast Ohio, but I think we're going to make that happen. But yeah, so I think, generally speaking, government should stay out of the way, regulate businesses as little as possible, make sure everyone's playing by the rules, reduce taxes, and think about how we can help regional organizations make Ohio a more friendly place to do business.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Having been in the legislature and now seeking another 2 years in the legislature, I'm sure you're aware that, there are people publicly that feel there's been a deep focus sometimes on issues that are more socially oriented than maybe economic or business focused. Given your background and the issues that it seems you're most interested in, are you going to be a legislator that we could count on will encourage a more business focused agenda next GA?
Yeah, I always tell people across a lot of different issues when we're talking about how to fund education, or if we're talking about the economy, or maybe social issues, we're able to walk and chew gum at the same time. I think we can do two things at once. If there's certain, call it more social issues that a lot of, frankly, Ohioans care about, and I think that's why we've seen some of that happen. But I think we also have the ability to focus on the economy as well. I mean, for me, the issues I hear most about are, like I said from the get-go, I mean, the number one issue I hear about is just the out of control cost of living and rising inflation that I think is impacting not only businesses, but their employees, those business owners. So, I mean, that's what I'm hearing on the ground here in Northeast Ohio. So that's what I'm going to try to focus the most of my time on. And again, that doesn't mean that's the only thing that I'm going to do or that any other legislator is going to do. I think we've seen that the last 20 months. We're going to continue to address other issues in other areas of government and society and culture. But yeah, so I think we're going to continue to do a lot of good things for the economy and to grow our economy and for our our economic community, if you will, our small business community, and hopefully we can do more, because I think everyone always wants more when we're talking about good stuff like growing our economy.
Great, thank you. And before we wrap up here, for those who know you, who've worked with you in the past, or maybe even for those who are just hearing about you or listening for the first time, any final thoughts or words you want to leave the listeners with?
I would just like to thank them for being engaged. I tell voters and folks all the time that I meet, as a new guy to politics, it's been eye-opening to see how powerful voters are in our electoral process, obviously, but also our government. And I think a lot of times people forget that how much power they do hold. So it's great to see people engaged in organizations like local chambers, regional chambers, and advocacy groups that are fighting to grow our economy, like yours, John. So thank you for being involved, for listening to this. Thank you for being engaged. Continue to be engaged and show up and listen. And if you want to reach out to me, you can go to steeperohiohouse.com and learn a little more about me and kind of what I'm about. And I'd love to talk to you and learn more about you as well. And please know that, I'm fighting to grow our economy here in Northeast Ohio every day.
Representative, thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, John.
Take care.